Okay, I just watched part of day 20 of the Lindsay Clancy trial, and I just got to say, I feel like the prosecution experts, so these rebuttal witnesses, I swear to you, they're getting paid by the word. These guys are some talkative motherfuckers. Yeah. Dr. Heilbrun, he's back up on the stand. And what I will say is I think he's better than Dr. Mack. That is for sure. They have different ideas of what the diagnosis is for Lindsay. So Halbrun's is that he believes that she's bipolar 2 with a depressive disorder. I think I said that in the last video. But what happened on the stand today? So he finishes up with one of the Bow twins, and he says that he finds that there's some inconsistencies in Lindsay's story, and some of it is the voices, right? That he did extensive research. I will say he was given a lot of material. He was able to go through all of it, so he's reading what each of the medical records say. He is then talking to Lindsay and finding what Lindsay said, but he's reading what Lindsay said to others. Then he did interviews with Patrick and Patrick's mom, I think. And so he's got some different perspectives of what he's kind of piling it all together. And what he said was that her discussion of the voices was inconsistent. So he says in one case, she is saying that the voice is telling her she must kill the children and then kill herself. Like, in order to kill herself, she must kill the children first. And then she mentions that she's told the children will suffer without her, that she must do it for the children's sake, essentially. But then in another statement or in an interview that she gave to somebody, she said, no, what she was told was that she must kill the children and then she can kill herself. So that altruistic, like, I must do it to keep my children safe, or I must do it because the children will suffer without me, seems to really only show up in one kind of interview or statement she made to somebody. And then as she was making other statements, especially to him 3 years later, that there was an inconsistency. Now, Reddington did get him a little bit on that on cross-examination, because he's like, you didn't talk to her until 3 years after, and all these other people talked to her all along the way. So doesn't it kind of seem obvious that maybe the story, it might shift, or you might hear it differently, or it might jot it down differently, but it is possible that there could be some inconsistencies between stories that are told to multiple people over 3 different years. He did admit that, yes, Lindsay is still very much grieving. She's still very much experiencing the loss of her children. She is very upset about this. But he did say that she had control of her thought process at the time that she killed her children. He admits, yes, that she had a mental disease or defect, and he says it is bipolar 2 with a depressive disorder. But then he said this, and I'm reading from notes, when he's asked if she, basically should be held criminally responsible, he said yes. She retained an awareness of the illegality of killing others, including killing her children. Her moral awareness of the wrongfulness of this killing was influenced by her strong desire to die, and if she were dead, to not leave her children behind. It's repeatedly said on the stand multiple times that he feels that there was a high degree of seriousness to her suicide attempt, and he said that this all stems from her strong desire to kill herself. And then if you combine that with this altruistic filicide, that she must take her children with her because no one else could care for them the way that she does, he believes that was her intent, and not command voices ordering her that she had to take the children before she could do anything to herself. On cross-examination, Reddington goes after him. Of course, we knew he was going to. I think this one holds up a little better than Mac did. But he does talk about, you were hired essentially by the prosecution sometime before January of 2025, but you didn't go meet with Lindsay until April of 2026. So it's more than a year. It's a year and maybe 4 months later, 4 or 5 months later, before you finally meet with Lindsay. You've had all the records, all the hospital visits, all of the phone conversations, every interview she's done up to this point. Wouldn't it be fair to say that when you walked into Tewksbury to talk to her, that you already had a preconceived notion? He denies that. He says, no. Yes, I read all the records, and yes, I was very well versed on it, but I really work hard not to form an opinion until I speak with the person. He did say that he and Mac went there to see her. It was 4.5 hours one day, 3 hours another day. Those were the times together. And then Hybrin worked with her alone for 3 hours one day. So all total, he spent 10.5 hours with Lindsay. And again, I think Reddington's point is, yippee, that's 10.5 hours. Like, there are people that have spent years, 2, 3 years with her, and they are experts, and they are people who are a lot more well versed in postpartum. Are you really going to go against them and what their diagnosis is? Hybrin admitted that he hasn't treated postpartum women. He says, well, yes, I've treated postpartum women. And Reddington was like, when was that? And he goes, oh, it was the late 80s. Reddington's like, so it was over 40 years ago. He had a women's group where there was a number of postpartum women, and some of them were suicidal, some of them were drug users. So he did have some experience, but it has been a long time ago, and it's clear that he's not super well versed in it. He did admit that Lindsay was a very good mother and that he felt that she was trying very hard to get help. Now, when speaking about that hospital in Rhode Island, remember, she showed up there was there for like a half a day. And what we've heard is that she was told this program wasn't for her and that they wouldn't help her or admit her essentially because of she was over medicated. So they talked about that a little bit. He did say that Rhode Island hospital, they actually offered her 3 other options. One of them was to go to some or other inpatient care, go to outpatient care. There was other things they offered her. And she said, well, I will go back to my previous provider and see what that person says. And he at first said that she wasn't admitted or that they didn't accept her into their program because her issue wasn't PPD. That hers was a more generalized mental health problem, and they specialized in PPD. Reddington gets him to admit that, yes, it was also, quote, due to adverse drug effects. She did say that she was having, difficulty getting out of bed. She was struggling with her hygiene. She felt flat. She wasn't herself. She was exhausted. She couldn't sleep. These are all things that are related to generalized depression, but also postpartum depression that could also lead to postpartum psychosis. He says that he diagnosed her as bipolar 2 because he didn't see any manic behavior. So Reddington went there about, the cleaning of the garage and the obsessiveness about getting rid of clutter. He also asked about her exercise program, and the doctor's like, well, she woke up at 4 a.m. and she went and ran a few miles. Then she got on the Peloton, and then she did aerobics. And I'm thinking, I don't do that much fucking exercise in 2 weeks. Like, she was doing that every day. That, to me, that very early on, I said, I think she was bipolar because I recognized that. I believe that shows a certain level of mania. She's got these high highs, and then all of a sudden you're hearing she can't get out of bed and she doesn't want to bathe herself. So it kind of goes like this, which is why I really strongly feel that there is some sort of bipolar disorder here. But I'm not a doctor. I'm just going off of what I've researched and what I keep hearing on the stand. Ultimately, I think Hybrin was trying to just diagnose her as more of just a generalized depressive disorder. Reddington, again, is going through the list, going, did she have this? Did she have this? Did she have this? Did she have this? And it turns out that all of those things, although they fall under general depression, they all fall under postpartum depression. I think this jury is going to have a hard time because we knew it was going to be a battle of the experts, but I think they're going to have a hard time now just trying to figure out who really is an expert in this area. Resnick is the one I would probably think has the most experience in this area, but you just never know what the jury's going to come back with.